Hi guys, Blake and Levi here today with Lilley's Landing Resort and Marina on beautiful Upper Lake Taneycomo. It is November the 3rd and they are shutting the floodgates off right now. They had them open for just about 24 hours and we are actually watching that happen. I wish I could get closer to the dam, but they are shutting the floodgates down. There they go. There goes the last one. So they had 8 floodgates open for about just for about 24 hours. I think they turned them on at about 3 o'clock yesterday. It's 4 o'clock now. And there they go. I'm assuming that they've gotten Table Rock dropped down to the level that they wanted it at. Anyway, we are right up here at the cable. Actually, I'm kind of on the other side of it. And this is where we're going to start. We're going to start right here at the cable. And we're going to throw white jigs. Captain B came back this morning from a morning trip and reported that they were catching a lot of fish on the white jig. But the white bite was really good and they had fish that were puking up shad. Levi and I have been up here for the last, I don't know, 3 hours fishing. I'd say maybe there was a short shad run, but that wasn't too significant. We've been catching 1 or 2 each pass on the white jigs or on a couple of jerk baits. Man, that really slowed the water down. All right, so anyway, I'm gonna start off throwing a 1/8 ounce white jig. And Levi's going to do the same. We both have those on 4-pound tests, and this could make it interesting. We'd definitely be able to get our jigs down farther and work them a little better. But we'll see how this goes. I'm going to set right up here in this corner. This corner here on the south side, there's an eddy. Now we haven't caught any other species yet. But I do know that when they run those floodgates, the other species, smallmouth, spotted bass, crappie, walleye, they all pour into the lake. And they tend to kind of, right up here below the dam, there's a little jetty that comes out, and it creates an eddy that comes down this bank. And a lot of the time, those walleye and those smallmouth and the crappie will come and they'll hide right here against this rock wall. And whenever they run floodgates, you can oftentimes come up here and set kind of in this eddy and catch some variety of species. Phil was up here with the grandkids a little bit ago. Phil and Marsha were, and he reported the same thing. They would catch about 1 fish or 2 fish each pass. And really, the only spot that the white bite has been good for us today has been from the cable down to the island. After that, it's pretty much non-existent. I think we caught one or 2 below the island, but still, always fun to come up here and fish the white jigs whenever the bite's good. Now, I don't know what they're doing with the generators at the moment. I believe that they might still be running 4 generators. They were running 8 gates with 4 generators. Nothing officially on the first cast. So when the water's running that fast and you're working these 1/8 ounce jigs up here, what we were having to do was cast them out and just kind of let them drift to the bottom slowly, and then you just barely bump it. Once you feel it touch the bottom, you just barely bump it, and that's how we were catching our fish. Water has dropped probably about 2.5 foot already since they shut the gates down. I was gonna throw a different color and just see if they were biting maybe a sculpin color a little bit better, but I figured out I don't have any 1/8 ounce jigs in any other color right now. Definitely get it to the bottom better. So I think we said it yesterday, but Table Rock was only 2.5 foot high. And so I imagine that they were able to get that down at least as far as they needed it. And so some of these fish, now that they've seen some shad, will be looking for this white, probably for the next couple days at least. I don't know that the bite will be super on fire since we didn't get a really large push of shad, but I imagine that for the next couple days you can come up here and throw a white jig, assuming that they keep enough water running to get up here. I don't know if they're planning on running the 4 generators for a while, or if they're going to shut those down and go back to kind of the pattern that we were looking at before. I know for the moment that they can't run 4 generators very long because there is no oxygen in that water coming from below the dam. Oh, hey, look, there's a little minnow in the water right there. Wasn't a shad though, it's just a little. Oh, there's another one. I was really hoping to tie into a few walleye while this was going on, but I guess that would just be dependent on whether they were near the dam when they opened it. Oh, hey, there's a fish. Oh, look, it's a white bass. Oh, it's a walleye. I was just saying I wanted to catch a walleye. This is just a little guy. Here on Taneycomo, they have to be over 15 inches to keep. And he is definitely not that, but there's a little baby walleye there, so well, we know at least a couple of them came over. And like I said, those walleye really, whenever they come over that dam, they do not like that fast running water. They'll get right in along this. Oh, darn it. And I caught a tree. Caught a tree pounder. Oh, of course it's got some flex to it. Ugh. Levi, will you throw me a white jig, please? Alright. So, another thing to be prepared if you ever do get to come fish the floodgates, buy more jigs than you think you're going to need. Unfortunately, when the water's running that fast, you got to get it to the bottom where the fish are at, and when you get hung up, most of the time it's gonna break off. And those trees are, when the water's that high, those trees are right at bank level. So a few other things you can do when the floodgates are running, and I tried it earlier. I had 3 fish on my shad fly, but I couldn't get the hook to stick in any of them. Is putting a shad fly on a drift rig. With the amount of CFS they were running earlier, I had to use a 3/8 ounce weight to get the proper drift. Or you can get the little jerk baits and take the belly hooks off, and you can run those on a drift rig. Now, even when the water's running fast, you really only need probably at most a 3/16 ounce, but I was using an 1/8 ounce earlier and still getting it to the bottom. So, man, you see all the fish jumping now? Now that water slowed down, these fish are getting a little more active. The few fish that we did catch so far today I mean, they were just pumped full of energy. They were jumping everywhere. So I think that water coming over the top of the dam definitely had a decent amount of oxygen in it. And I'm really just concentrating on working the rocks against that bank right now. Because that's where these warmer water species are going to be hanging out at. And I'm really, you know, it looks like they may have even cut down 2 generators. I think they've dropped it all the way down to 2 units of water, just from looking at it here. Oh man. Yesterday when the floodgates came on, I got real excited, hoping that with that west wind we had, we'd get a really big shad push. And sounds like we may have had one sometime early this morning, but it did not continue. I haven't seen one shad in the water since we've been up here. We got up here around 1 o'clock this afternoon. Oh! He was following my jig. We're getting to the point now where the water's moving slow enough that I should probably be using a smaller jig. A few other things you can do when the floodgates are running is the eddies behind the island, the eddy that we started in over on the north bank. Once you drop down to outlet 4, there's kind of an eddy, and below the big sycamore tree on the south bank, you can get in and kind of hold yourself there with the trolling motor, and a lot of the times the trout will work into those eddies and get out of the current. And you can just kind of sit there and cast in the seam line between the current and the eddy, and you can usually do pretty good. And the gentleman was sitting up here using a Colorado blade behind the island, and he was hooking into a few fish. So we went by him earlier. Oh, swing and a miss. Levi had a swing and a miss. I would imagine what shad and bait fish are left, now that the water slowed down, those fish will probably start cruising out and taking advantage of the slower water. I might even try a jerk bait once we're done with the one cast here. Let's see if that. Oh!
Going right next to the boat.
Did you see that?
Lost him.
I pulled the jig up out of the water and he jumped up trying to catch it midair. There.
White on white.
I'm gonna try working this jig kind of just right under the surface and keep it moving here. Kind of like a jerk bait. They're definitely getting active here. Oh, there was a bite. I was just working that barely under the surface. We've had quite a few chases back to the boat like that today, so they're definitely out here getting after something. It might be whatever those little minnows I saw were. I do know that the floodgates coming back off is definitely a good thing, though. The water temperature up on Table Rock was still a little high to be dumping it in here for too long. I took a reading last night. We came up here and fished with the floodgates on and tried that out, and we only caught 5 or 6 fish. We had to use real deep diving jerk baits, and the water temperature was almost 60 degrees. Which trout can survive in that, but that's starting to get to the point where it's a little too hot. They're flying out of the water. I'm still looking for some floating shad, and I just haven't seen one yet. Ooh, did you see how pretty that one was? I'm gonna try just casting it out and reeling it back. Some of the other fishermen over there on the bank are talking about how many fish are rising right now. Oh! So I was just oh, there's more than one chasing it. I had 2 trout right at the boat going after that jig, and they're definitely in a chasing mood. All I was doing was just reeling that jig underneath the surface. Sometimes you just gotta change up your method of approach. I do know that rainbow trout particularly like a pause occasionally whenever they're chasing something, whereas the brown trout, oh, there was one. Whereas the brown trout don't like the pause as much. I'm gonna try this a couple more times, and I think we're gonna run back up to the cable and we're gonna throw jerk baits for a second. It seems to me like they're really in a chasing mood, so see if that does anything. Actually, let's go do that right now. You just stand right there. So, we're going to try the jerk baits just for a second. I've got on a Signature Series 110+1 Go Shad, and Levi is throwing the same thing, except it is in the French Pearl, which is kind of like a shad imitation. And honestly, with the water going as slow as it is now, we could probably get away with one of the smaller models. Especially, man, look at, see that? These trout are just right under the surface. They are up here and they are feeding. With a pair of polarized glasses on, I'm looking out here and I'm just, there's trout and they're just right about a foot underneath the surface right now. These might be going a little too deep. You want to chase you to the boat?
Yep. 20 fish.
Oh! I had one chase me to the boat. So these 110+1s, they do a hard side-to-side walk. Oop, see that gar? About a three foot gar just surfaced in front of us. I'm gonna throw a 606. So I'm going with the same color. This is the 606 Go Shad, and it just dives about 3 foot less than 3 or 4 foot less than the one I was just using. And I'm even gonna kind of give it an upwards pop to keep it near the surface. Oh, that one had it in his mouth. So I'm just doing a bunch of really small twitches. This bait doesn't require a lot of jerking action. It doesn't do a side to side, it just kind of shimmies. And so you don't need a whole lot of action when you pop it, but you do want a lot of little pops. You do 4 or 5 pops and a little 1 or 2 second pause. Uh-oh. Levi was fishing for squirrels just now. But the squirrel did let go. You know what? I'm gonna go even one step smaller here. I'm gonna throw the 762, which only dives about 3 foot. Wrong box. There they are. Do what?
You get one.
White?
Yep.
Just put it right there for now. So this is the 762 that only dives about 3 foot. This is the one we use a lot at nighttime. And it's probably a more realistic size to what they are feeding on at the moment. And this one is the same way as the 606. It only requires little bitty pops. If you pop it too hard, it'll roll over and just look kind of unnatural. I have a theory that the water over here on the south side is probably a little more oxygenated than it is over there on the north side. This side is, the floodgate side where the water was coming over the top, and the other side is where the generators are coming out at. And I think we'll just take a couple more casts. They're not quite nailing this like I thought they would. I definitely had a lot of chasers here, and a few takes right at the boat, but Alright, I'm calling it. This is my last cast. Maybe if I just try reeling it back. So I'm just going to try reeling it back to the boat here. Alright, better give it up. Well, we thank you guys for watching. Like and share us on Facebook, and we'll do it again for you tomorrow, guys. So, as soon as I turn the video off, and I mean no shorter than touching the button to turn the video off, Levi hooked into a really nice trout here on the jerkbait. Wow, that is a pretty fish. Hey, there's a jerkbait stuck in my net. That's no good.
They are feisty.
This is a really nice.
Oh, there we go.
Alright.
Alright.
We got him off the hook there. Wow, look at how healthy that fish is. Let's see if I can just get a hold of him here. Come on, buddy. He is not happy about this. Alright. There it is. Beautiful. Big rainbow. And there he goes.
Thanks, bud.
I'll hand that back to you. Alright, I just wanted to show that off, so thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you again tomorrow.